Hi, and welcome to the Shai Show. This week's Parsha is Parshas Lech Lecha. This week, I think, is an amazing Parsha. I think that's true every week, and I think that this week is amazing too. This week's this week's Parsha, our Zeidy Avraham was told to leave his homeland and his home and to go on a journey, for God. Whereby we're going on this journey, he was promised greatness and fulfillment, and all his spiritual dreams will come true. And the first thing that happens to him after this promise is made to him is that there's a famine, a real famine. Not like today when we go to the supermarket and they don't have our favorite cookie. I'm talking about a real famine. Nothing to eat whatsoever. Not even Brussels sprouts, even the frozen kind.
Oh no!
I know, right?
Terrible.
Well, when I said that I wanted to be somebody someday, I realized that I should have been more specific. You know, I heard that once, and I think that's something inside here that when we don't recognize that we're on a mission and a destiny, that things are promised to us, that any bump in the road, any hindrance, much less an actual famine, could possibly cripple us and keep us. But when there's a recognition, when there's that we see that as part of the process, even if we don't see directly how this individual nuance, this individual bump in the road fits into the process, we could nonetheless understand this bump in the road as part of the process with a feeling and a sense. So back here, where Zeidy Avraham understood that he was on a mission, and the prophecy revealed to him on what and where he should be going, he kept constantly close to his heart and mind. If it were up to Avraham, and as a thinking person, I it's been wondered, and I read that what kind of if he were God, as it were, how would he have constructed spirituality? How would he have set up this relationship? Would he have included famine as part of the process? Along that line, understanding that he's a finite person coming up with a finite sense of spirituality, even if he's a very intelligent person, and let's say that he senses a certain amount of spirituality, how much is that? How much spiritual brownie points is that really worth? Is that worth one spiritual brownie point, a million, a billion spiritual brownie points? And even if he's bringing and he has this greater and greater sense of spirituality, what is spirituality if it is not a finite person connecting to the infinite Hashem in the form of a relationship? Nonetheless, when we're speaking about finite and basing it purely on ourselves, how far, like how close could it be? How much closer, for example, if we're connecting to this infinite Hashem, how much closer is one to infinity versus a billion to infinity? How about even a trillion to infinity?
A bazillion.
Or a bazillion to infinity? How would we, for example, infinity minus one is still infinity, and a billion, a trillion, a bazillion minus infinity minus a bazillion, a trillion is still this very large number minus infinity is still infinity. So how much closer, if you were at position 1 in your spiritualness to infinity, than you would be if you were at a position trillion to infinity? Meaning, this is just like an insight that the whole connection with Hashem, the whole process of the finite connecting with the infinite, this is a gift, and it's a promise, and it's something that came through our ancestors and their experiences and the genes that we're a part of. But an understanding that Hashem is infinite, and understanding this relationship, one part of it, we're saying that Hashem is something that's not finite. Basically, we're bounding him by saying he has no bounds. So are we still bounding him by saying he has no bounds? But this whole concept of the infinite connecting the infinite and what the infinite nature is a separate schmooze. So here, we are saying that we do have. So when we do that, we do have an understanding of an existence of a relationship. Although it can be a relationship that we don't necessarily understand, and it could feel that many times that we're just not understanding what the nature of the relationship is, because it can seem dark, frustrating, and a great disconnect. But we could also understand that that we have these genes, through Zeidy Avraham, that we can intuit that there's a greater good, and to it there's a greater purpose, because there in fact was a prophecy and a purpose that was promised to Avraham and all his descendants. So we can understand that, or possibly we can take with us that we are on a mission, and this mission involves a greater goodness, our greater goodness, with a promise by someone who can be trusted to keep their promise, as a promise both to us, just by being here, just by being created, by being a descendant of Avraham Avinu, of Zeidy Avraham, that this life and this mission is meaningful. So, it may be that when we're in such darkness and things are maybe not clear, that we can understand that this is all part of the process, because we're on a mission to do good, to become perfected, for an ultimate good end. And all these things that seem like hindrances, and they are hindrances in a way, are part and parcel, part of the process, in order to become complete, to become whole. And that sometimes, unfortunately or fortunately, that to really appreciate lightness, there's times of darkness. But if we understand, even in the moment, that what seems like a bump in the road is part and parcel of the mission, and is what I needed most to be maximized, my potential to be maximized, my relationship with Hashem to be maximized right now, is coming my way, is really a good thing that's coming my way, in order to make this connection and to become whole and become complete, and that it's all part of a process to go upward. Thank you so much for coming by and watching this Parsha video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the space below. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And it's going to be a great Shabbos, and it's a great Parsha. I hope you have time to review it, have time to look at it, please. And it's all good.